Okay, let's entertain this question here. Can you pass calculus? Or maybe you can phrase this, are you smart enough to pass calculus? And maybe you're doubting yourself or you're considering taking calculus and you're just not sure if you can handle that level of math. Now, this is a very important discussion here. And what I'm going to do is obviously we're going to have a quick discussion is make sure that you're not closing off any opportunities for your potential degree or career options because you are trying to steer clear of calculus. There's a lot of people who say, "Oh boy, I'm not taking that," and so although the degree I wanted to get requires calculus, I'm going to steer clear of that and do something else. Now, that's a huge decision to make, and you shouldn't let calculus stop you. But again, we want to entertain this question that probably a lot of people ask themselves: like, I don't think I'm smart enough. I don't know if I can do this because you've heard a lot of horror stories, or maybe you're in a calculus class right now and you're just doubting everything. So we're going to get into this quick discussion. I'm going to give you my best advice, and hopefully, you'll get some value from this video. But before we get going, let me go ahead and quickly introduce myself. My name is John. I'm the founder of TabletClass Math. I'm also a middle and high school math teacher. And whether you need to take a full online course, I actually don't offer calculus, but I offer other courses. So if you're preparing to take calculus, I can certainly help you out. I'm going to leave a link to my math help program in the description below. And also, I'm a huge stickler on math notes. I offer pre-algebra, algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, and trigonometry notes. You can find a link to those in the description below as well. So let's get into this situation. Okay, so calculus, of course, we have this concerned student pondering whether they could do something like this. And yes, is it a challenging subject? Absolutely, it's a challenging subject. And but it's all relative. Okay, it's all relative. Here, I'm going to tell you very briefly my story in mathematics. So here I am. I'm starting as a freshman. Okay, and I'm taking Calc 1 and Calc 2, right? Or Calculus A and B. That's basically two-semester calculus course, and I did very, very well, but it was very challenging. But my confidence was, high up, and I was like, and I switched from an economics major, which I enjoyed, and I got into the math program. Okay, so I thought, hey, I did well in calculus. I could handle all these other subjects. Well, my sophomore, junior, and senior year, I took some pretty crazy math that made calculus look like not that difficult. So, again, it's all relative in terms of where you're at. So maybe, you can't compare yourself to anybody but yourself. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, right? And all of our aptitudes are different, but the thing is this, I'm going to get right to this question. Can you pass calculus? Yes, you absolutely can pass calculus if you want to. And let's discuss what it takes to do well in calculus. Okay, so the first thing is here's a little prospective calculus student right here, or maybe this is you in a calculus course right now. And over the years, I've worked with a ton of students who are taking calculus. Of course, I've experienced the course, and I have a degree in mathematics and a master's degree, so I know what it takes to pass this class or to do well in advanced mathematics. So the first thing it takes, okay, it's not about being smart. Okay, get this out of your head. So if you're doubting whether you're intelligent enough or smart enough, I can assure you that you are. Okay, that's not the question to be asking here. Okay, so really the question is how bad do you want to pass calculus? Okay, how bad do you want it? All right, that's really what it comes down to. All right, and the challenges are going to be different because everyone's starting their calculus course or going into calculus at various levels of preparation. Okay, so let's talk about what you definitely have to have in your corner if you're going to do well in calculus. If you're missing any one of these kind of attributes, then you're going to struggle. Okay, so really, it's not about again you being smart enough to pass calculus. Is are you ready to take calculus? Okay, but a lot of people phrase that they don't look at that. They don't speak to themselves that way. They're like, "Am I ready to take calculus?" No, they'll often doubt themselves. I don't think I'm smart enough to take calculus or pass calculus. Wrong question. Are you ready to take calculus? Okay, so let's talk about the things that you need to already have in your corner if you're going to be fully ready to take on the wonderful subject of calculus. So the first thing is you have to have basically the mindset. Let me just put it that way. So the mindset. So mindset is that you're not going to be defeated with calculus. Okay, no matter how difficult it gets, you're going to rise to the challenge. And I did a video some time back about my experience in the Marine Corps. And before I ever went off to college, I was in the United States Marine Corps. And that really was one of the best experiences of my life because it really drilled in that mindset of like failure is not an option. Okay. You have to have that as well. So if you have to take calculus to achieve the degree that you want or the career that you want, so be it. Okay. Calculus will not stand in your way. But you have to have that mindset before it gets difficult. Okay, so you just have to make that decision. You're going to do whatever it takes to pass this class. And when you go into it and it starts getting difficult, and it will get difficult, then your mind is ready to react. Okay, all right, so that's the first main thing. Right, the second thing is you really need to have experienced a good pre-calculus course. Okay, there is a course out there, right? It's called Pre-Calculus, right? Hopefully, some of you have taken that course and have done well in that course. That's a challenging course. I'm actually ready to almost finish with my pre-calculus course. I've been working on it for a good amount of time, and all my courses take a long time to construct because I have a huge amount of instruction and I do a ton of research and it's a lot. Okay, but this course here, pre-calculus, is absolutely necessary. So you really need to ask yourself, did you have a good experience in your pre-calculus course? Now that's not to be confused with let's say college algebra. Okay, so if you're coming from a college algebra course, typically these are not the same. Okay, and I think sometimes colleges, I might be kind of overstepping my bounds here, but I think oftentimes colleges will let you place into calculus based upon your math placement score, or maybe you could just take college algebra and then jump right into calculus. And I've seen some of these curriculums for some of these courses, and quite frankly, it's a little concerning because like you're going from college algebra up to calculus. And right in here is really what a good, strong pre-calculus course, all this stuff you really need to know. So, that could be a problem as well. So you might, you might have done very, very well in college algebra, let's say, and say, okay, you're ready to, or you can place now into calculus one, but that could be a little deceiving because even though you did well in college algebra, you may still not have all the different things, the concepts behind you. So let's just quickly over here talk about pre-calculus and some of the things that you should already like totally be like super strong in. Okay, so the first thing would be trigonometry. Okay, you really need to know your trigonometry for calculus. Okay, and I'm talking not just the basic, right angle trigonometry. Hey, what's the sign of this? Da, 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 da. I'm talking about all those identities, law of sine, law of cosine, vectors, parametric equations. Like you really, really need to be strong with trigonometry and all the different ancillary topics that are involved in trigonometry, which of course would be solving trigonometric equations, evaluating various trigonometric functions, the graphs of trigonometric functions, etc. Of course, now parametric equations can involve trigonometry or not, but that's a separate topic. But so trigonometry, huge one in calculus. Really, really know all of that. And then all the other advanced topics that are taught or reinforced in pre-calculus. So let's say like logarithms and exponential functions. Okay, that's a huge one. Sequence and series, that's another huge one. Okay, sequence and series, like the binomial theorem and everything else, working with things that look like this and understanding, various, what's the difference between a sequence and series. This comes up big time in calculus. And so when you're taking calculus, that your professor is expecting that they're not going to go back and reteach you this stuff. Let's just say that much. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, they're expecting you to walk into the classroom with all these different things. Okay, so sequence and series, another huge one. Just basic um, equation solving uh, knowledge and skills, like from concepts of polynomials to radical equations, rational equations, conic sections. That's another huge one. Conic sections. So those are like ellipses, hyperbolas, um, circles, all those transformations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there is a lot covered. I'm not even covering, like a lot of stuff that you should really have had a strong foundation in pre-calculus. So again, I think I've seen, okay, oftentimes people take a college placement exam and they place into calculus, but I don't know if that is really serving the student well, okay? Because some of these placement exams could be, I think they're doing the best they can do to try to place you in the right class. But I guess the bottom line, what I'm trying to tell you is this: you better make sure that you have really know all this material, okay? And if you can, place out of it because you really have all this stuff down, then that's fine, okay? Then you'll be ready for calculus. But probably this number one thing here is that students just walk into a calculus class not fully ready. And you have to do not just take this class, you need to have done really well in a class like a pre-calculus kind of course. Okay. So that's another thing too. If you didn't do well in pre-calculus, and I'm talking about grades less than a B, then yeah, you're gonna have a tough time in calculus. It's just gonna be like a tsunami of new stuff. So again, um, even though your school or your placement, test has told you that you can qualify to enter a calculus course, you may want to, think twice about that. Okay, maybe talk to the department head, and that's a good suggestion too. Talk to the math department head and be like, hey, listen, I know I can take this class, but do you really think that this class has prepared me for, Calc 1? Or maybe talk to the calculus teacher and see what they have to say. Okay, because all calculus courses too are not going to be the same. Okay, your basic first semester. And let's just talk about that real quick before I get into the rest of this. Is when you take calculus, okay, you can have calculus for, let's say, a business major. Okay, and it's still going to be calculus, but it's maybe not going to be as detailed as someone going into like engineering, okay, or computer science or a math degree, right? So your college may have different flavors of calculus, so that could influence your decision. But I can tell you right now, if you're going anywhere um, near any of those STEM degrees, right, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, then you really are going to, you know, calculus is just going to be the first of many math courses, advanced math courses you're going to be taking. All right, so again, make sure that you have the right educational background before you even start calculus. Now, the next things are kind of obvious deals, and that is your academic, I would say, habits. All right, you need to, at this point in your um, uh, educational career, let's call it that, you need to be a professional. Okay, meaning that you need to be a professional student. And what does a professional math student looks like? Well, guess what? They take notes, all right? They take impeccable notes. Okay, they do all the homework. They don't shy away from anything the teacher tells them to do, okay? And a student doesn't need to be told what to do. They just do it on their own initiative, okay? Note taking, critical, doing all the homework, struggling with all the homework problems, okay? Big one too is getting help, finding help. Now, who should you ask that help? Well, you need to be ready to go to your professor's office hours, go to the math center, link up with a study group, whatever. You're going to do whatever it takes. Goes back to that mindset to follow through. You're also going to be studying. Okay, you're going to just keep up because the thing is, what gets people with a course like calculus is once you start getting lost, all right, once you start struggling in the beginning, it's just going to go downhill from there. Okay, you have to keep up, all right, and that's the only way you're going to do that is to be in a complete state of immersion. Okay, complete state um, of like, hey, you're engaged and don't take your focus off. Okay, so academic habits, make sure that you are a professional student at this level. If you're not a professional, I wouldn't be messing around with calculus until you feel like you have that. Now, another thing is, and we'll maybe wrap it up at this point, is to realize that, let's see how we kind of say that, is that people have different aptitudes. Let's just call it this way, aptitudes. What do I mean by that? Well, guess what? Some people are going to find calculus easy. Some people are going to find it like okay, and some people are going to find it extremely hard and difficult. All right. That all depends on people's individual attitude or aptitudes. For me personally, I hate like English and things like that because I struggle in that area. Okay, grammar and things like that's not my thing. I'm more analytical. I enjoy science, mathematics, etc. Like those type of things. But you might be the reverse, right? You don't maybe you hate math and but you have to take this course to get where you need to go. It's okay. All right. This has nothing to do with being intelligent, okay? Where you end up here, your aptitude, if you're finding calculus difficult, all right, do not equate that with your intelligence, okay? That has nothing to do with your intelligence. It's just natural aptitudes. We're all going to be good in some things. Some people could pick up a guitar or play the piano just naturally. They're just amazing at it, but they would struggle maybe with a calculus problem or learning mathematics. Um, and of course, I think my point's well taken. Everyone, you have your strong points, okay? And you're going to have a bunch of people in your math class or your calculus class are going to have different aptitudes, okay? It is what it is. But calculus, okay, is a course that more than just engineers have to take. Okay? There's a lot of degrees out there that require calculus, at least one semester of calculus. I know a lot of like finance, degrees. Certainly, if you're going to do like economics and things like that, you need more. Probably need a year, if not, it's a lot of mathematics to get, I guess what I'm getting at. So don't let the subject of calculus defeat you. And now the one thing is, okay, this kind of goes back to mindset, is you have to be, what's the word? I would say committed. And this will be our last little thing here, committed, because once you start, you can't stop. You have to, and it goes back to the mindset thing, okay, that you're going to do this. But once you start a course, all right, you just can't take a couple days off, a week off, things like that is going to be very, very difficult. So you really have to make sure that when you're taking it, you have to try to clear your calendar out the best you can. Of course, you're going to be taking other courses and things like that, but maybe you want to arrange when you take your calculus course, okay? If you're going to be taking it, maybe you can put in some easier classes during that semester, right? You might want to think about, is it possible for me to, if I know there's other difficult courses, can I move them, elsewhere while I'm just kind of dealing with calculus, if that's going to be, your nemesis, if you will, okay? But the bottom line is this, okay? A lot of students, they kind of get down on themselves. They're like, I'm not smart enough. I'm just not, I'm not intelligent enough. And I'm like, it's such a shame. Just because someone can do math does not mean that they can do other things, okay? Uh, but I'll tell you, the subject itself, calculus, is fascinating. It is a really cool math. Math, it's so powerful. Let's just say this much. And I think if you have an attitude of like, of curiosity. I think that's another good thing that goes back to the mindset and the commitment. If you're curious about it, all right, don't let all this crazy stuff, all this little things like this intimidate you. Okay. Just be like, hey, take it head on and one day at a time. Just work the hardest you can, all right, and stay connected with, a support network. Okay, you basically got to go in there, and your support network starts with your professor, and maybe students that that are going to do well, all right, or like, hey, have a strong track record. But the bottom line is this: can you pass calculus? Absolutely, you can. Is it going to be easy? It's probably not going to be easy for nobody. Okay, even those people are going to excel because it's a lot of material coming at you. All right, but are you smart enough? Yes, you are smart enough. Okay, you absolutely are. So take that out of your mind and put a smiley face on because calculus is a cool subject and it's an achievement. Okay, if you can do that, it opens up a lot of doors for you. All right, once you pass that, then you can go into other more degree programs that might interest you. All right, so with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.